PlugFest as well as our working group updates. I'll cover the OmniAir updates. Ryan will talk a little bit about what we have planned for our upcoming PlugFest, and Randy will bring us home with the updates on our working groups. And with that, Brukenda, let's get started.
As Jason said, welcome. So good to see all of you guys tonight or morning, depending on where you are. Good day, good morning, good evening. It is a policy of the OmniAir Consortium that the organization, its officers, board of directors, members, and participants in its activities shall comply in all respects with federal and state antitrust and/or fair competition laws, regulations, and rules as may be applicable. Accordingly, no activity or discussion at any OmniAir-sponsored meeting or other function relating to competition or relating to practices that may restrain trade is permitted. Such prohibited topics include establishing prices, allocating markets, encouraging boycotts, regulating production, or any other understanding or agreement that may be construed as anti-competitive. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jason to show off part of our new brochure.
Well, thank you very much. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us. This is our monthly membership meeting. We do the meeting twice in the same day. We do it once for our members in North America and Europe, and then once again for Asia, Australia. So I appreciate you all taking the time to join. You can see here, this is one of the pages from our brand new membership brochure. It's been about 5 years since we've had our membership brochure updated, so it was really due for an update. You'll find a copy of that available on our website, and this just illustrates the OmniAir ecosystem, all the way from chipset providers to automotive OEMs, test labs, and everything in between. I think it's the diversity of the organization that is our strength. Next, please. And you'll find in the brochure a good overview of our testing and certification programs, our working groups, and our PlugFests. Of course, the 3 different levels of membership. If you know of organizations or companies that you think would be great members of OmniAir that are not already members, please do send them our way, and I'll ask Ryan to send a link to the brochure and drop that in the chat box. Next, please. So we have 2 new members to announce. I don't think that we have anyone on because one's based in North America, one's based in Israel. But we're very excited to have CDM Smith, a storied engineering firm based in Boston, Massachusetts, responsible for a number of tolling and road usage charge projects, as well as traffic and ITS engineering. They'll be one of those deployers of connected vehicle technologies as well as tolling. So we welcome them. Our primary contact is Markel Moffitt, and we're so delighted to have CDM Smith as a member. No Traffic is a startup that is growing very rapidly, based out of Israel. They provide sort of AI-enabled traffic management solutions. They fuse together sensor data from both RSUs, OBUs, as well as non-RF sensors, LiDAR, radar, cameras, to provide a really good picture of traffic data and help cities and states manage that traffic. So we are delighted to have No Traffic join. And in fact, they're a former OmniAir member, and they were last members about 5 years ago, and we're just so glad to have them back in the membership. Next, please. So for those of you who are members but just haven't quite yet paid your dues, you can click on this QR code, and that will take you to the payment link. There are a couple of members who have not yet paid. We will next week be sending out 30-day notices and final dues notices. So failure to pay within those 30 days will result in termination of membership. Thankfully, there's only a couple companies that are in that category, and hopefully we'll be able to help them with payments. If you have any questions about dues payment, please reach out to Brukenda or myself. We're happy to help you. Next, please. So we have some exciting news to announce. IT Telecom has been awarded the very first OmniAir certification for an RSU. That is a CV2X RSU. There are a number of devices that are in certification testing, but IT Telecom really stood out, and they put the effort behind making sure that they completed the testing and they did everything that was necessary So we're very, very excited, and congratulations to IT Telecom. And I would note that the testing took place at TTA, which is one of our authorized test laboratories. So we're very, very excited about that. Do we have anyone from IT Telecom on the call? Bill Choi or anyone? Well, I'm sure we'll have a chance to congratulate them in a future membership call. So looking forward to having a more formal ceremony at our Plugfest coming up in May. Next, please. And on the tolling side, we have several new certifications to announce for Neology for our 6C RFID tolling program. We have certified 3 new transponders there. We've also authorized a field test site for Neology in Texas, in College Station, Texas. So we're very excited about that. That's one of about 5 different OmniAir authorized field test sites. We're continuing to provide authorized field test sites and authorized laboratories to help expand some of those testing choices for our members. And so we're so excited to partner with Neology on this, and congratulations to Neology on their achievement. Next, please. So coming up the week of May 13th, we have an exciting week of testing planned. It is our 13th OmniAir Plugfest, taking place at the world famous in-city connected and automated vehicle test facility at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We have Ryan Hall here to talk about both the testing as well as some other things we'll be doing, including workshops, tech demos, a reception, and a little bit of fun. So Ryan, it's not all work, is it? There's going to be some fun too, I hope.
No, and that's what makes Plugfest so great. It's bringing everyone together, having fun. Many of the people on the call tonight were at our Plugfest in Taipei, Taiwan, which was probably one of the best Plugfests we'd ever had. And I see Chinhua online today, so I just want to say thank you to her again, because I couldn't have done it without all of her help. So thank you again. You can see the list of security providers, the types of bench testing that we have, and these are our early confirmed participants. If you don't see your name and you would like to participate, it's very easy. I've extended the discount, $1,000 discount. You can scan the little QR code. It's on the next slide that's coming up. If you have any issues with that, I know it's going to be Easter weekend for us, so if there's any problems with that, you can always send me an email, and I can help you with your arrangements for Plugfest. So if there's anything Plugfest related, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you get there. So our next one is like what to expect for testing. So we have some great bench and field testing. We're at M-City, which is a world-class testing facility. It's a very small footprint, but makes it very easy to get around and for us to have a controlled testing environment. We're also having a connected vehicle conference. We have several great panels and keynote speakers, and we have some great speakers coming from Hawacom. So we're very excited to have them presenting for us at our Plugfest, and we hope to have a large Taiwanese delegation in attendance. So even if you're not testing, we'd love to have you at the conference. One other thing that we're doing a little bit differently is we're partnering with the United States Department of Transportation. We're going to have side meetings with them on Thursday morning. So after the conference, we're going to talk about their second report and order, VDEX deployments across the United States, and look at the professional capacity building for VDEX deployers. So in addition to the conference, the US DOT really wanted to talk to our members and get engaged to hear what their needs and what's going on and how they can better move forward. The next slide will show all the questions about Plugfest. So any of your questions that you might have, what type of testing we're doing, the facility, what it looks like, how to ship your RSUs or your testing equipment, hotels, shipping instructions, all of those can be found on our website. So to make it easy, I have a giant QR code. You can scan that. It's also on the first thing on the OmniAir home page on the website. You just click the first image and it will also take you to that page. The next slide, so we're talking about hotels. We do have a hotel set up for $194 a night. There are additional hotels that are nearby. In the next slide, we have guests staying at the Doubletree Hotel and Residence Inn. If you're not, you're not driving, it is in walking distance. So Brenda can show that slide. It can show in relation where the testing facility is to the hotels. So it's a very quick walk or a short drive to get into the facility. I'm showing the directions how you would get into the back entrance to where we're testing. So it's very easy to access to get it in and out. If you don't drive, you can walk, or you can ride with one of us from OmniAir to go back and forth. Not a big deal. We want to be able to be as accommodating as we can. So since it's really short, we really don't need shuttles or anything. On the next slide, we're going to show the applications and the locations. We have calls in the morning, 6 a.m. Pacific time. So that's probably about 4 or 5 o'clock for Asia the next day. So Brenda, if you can show the next slide, please, that would be fantastic. You can look at what we're testing. So red light violations, work zone, preemption, PED testing. So there's a lot of similar tests that we did in Taipei we're doing here. But as you'll notice, and it's a much condensed footprint. So this is on several acres versus the streets. And one of the most important things that I wanted to talk about, it's what Jason alluded to, and it's in the next slide. It's the fun part. It's bringing everybody together. It's working hard, collaborating, and getting the industry to where it needs to be so we can all deploy and start having V2X deployments around the world. And that's really the goal. So it's the camaraderie. It's twice a year we get together and everyone works hard to save, although we're competitors, many of the people there in these pictures, competitors in real life, but we all have one goal, is to save lives. And so the PlugFest brings everybody together to do that. And I look very much forward to seeing everyone in Michigan if you can. And if you can't make it to this one, we hope you can make it to our European PlugFest in the fall.
That's awesome, Ryan. Thank you so much. And I would just ask you to put in the chat box a link to the registration. As Ryan mentioned, there is a $1,000 discount until the end of the month using the code Last Chance. And this is your opportunity to sign up and take advantage of three leading tester laboratories will be there. Some of the most prominent engineering firms leading V2X deployments. US DOT will have a large presence at the event, so we're very excited about that. And we'll have bench testing, security testing, including our new test cases for 1609.2.1 will be part of PlugFest for the first time. It will now be required for certification, so we're really excited about that. And we'll be doing some interoperability testing. So if you really think that your device is ready for deployment, but you're not quite sure, bring it to PlugFest, and we'll help you work out the kinks. Well, thank you so much, Ryan. I'm going to ask Randy Roebuck to give our working group update. You can see that we have quite a few working groups, but Randy's going to summarize a lot of the really significant work that's been happening in each of the working groups, and also be looking for volunteers. Mr. Roebuck, floor is yours, sir.
Hello, this is Randy. Can you hear me?
Yes,
hello?
sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Our first working group is our certification working group, where we work on all the certification scopes and policy type stuff. The board did approve our 722, which was updated after about 4 years. The board approved it. It will be released once the 30-day IP policy expires, which is going to be early next week. So you'll be able to see that up on our website in our members area early to mid next week. The one key item there was, once you start an application and get your test plan approved, you have 6 months to complete it before you have to reapply. And we try our best to take your information, get a test plan generated, and it typically takes less than 2 weeks to do it. But in case if there's some complication or so, This policy allows 4 weeks for that particular item. Our next item is our aftermarket safety device certification scope. It's in progress, probably one of our newest and actually most active moving forward. We want as many V2X devices out there, and there are some automotive OEMs that are pursuing to implement VX, but we do want these aftermarket so people can get it quicker. This is kind of a combination of a SAE VDEX working group on this, where they're defining the standard requirements for devices like that, and working collaboratively together with OmniAir, where we're developing the testing and the test cases for it so we can bring it to the market as quick as possible. Actually, I'll be presenting on a aftermarket safety panel at ITS America in later in April here. And there's a couple of the device manufacturers such as EVOS and Casignia will be on this panel, along with Audi, the car company. That will be moderated by one of the Qualcomm leads. 757 VDEX device interoperability. One of the key things about OmniAir, and actually it's one of the key items regarding PlugFest, bringing everybody together, collaborating in order to conform to the requirements, but just as important, the interoperability aspects of it. So we're looking to expand what we do and have the testing certification enhanced from that perspective. We've had a lot of discussion of we have programs set up for certification for OBUs, RSUs, modules. The modules can either be the radio module or the VDEX module, but we've had folks come to us, could the VDEX software stack be certified? So that's in some very interesting discussions, and hopefully we can bring that on board this year. In the cybersecurity working group, Jason mentioned that 1609.2.1, which all the SCMS providers have provided fantastic support on that, and has led to the 764B to be approved by the board this last time. That has about 60 test cases in it, and 10 of them are the baseline mandatory in moving forward. So the OmniAir and its members has really trying to accelerate this into the VDEX deployment. Also, the SCMS manager group has put out a CTL route on their website for pilots, and also what we use for the OmniAir PlugFest. We've also updated the 764 document, which is actually 748, which is a certifications instructions to be used at PlugFest. That version is 7.1. That can be found in both the cybersecurity working group certificate instructions for PlugFest, and also our technical PlugFest SharePoint also. And also we have started and had our meetings with the cybersecurity group that's also created an evening meeting here, or a morning meeting for Asia. So it's really capturing so-called the world from a global percent on security. Our technical working group, we basically reopened 751 for the module certification scope to make sure from what we've learned from Taipei and now that's put in there. There is two types of modules, one a radio module and then a VDEC stack on top of the radio module that people are pursuing right now. The 740A CAM, it's been under document review. We should see that this month in the 14-day ballot. Our 774 device interoperability is the companion document for the certification scope and of 757. So we've kind of put in that document now what we've been doing at PlugFest so far, but we definitely want to expand it and want to get participation from everybody there. Next slide, please. In the PlugFest Technical Planning Group, it's very important we have everybody attend here, especially if they're planning to participate in PlugFest. We have taken these meetings from every 2 weeks now to a weekly cadence. We had a meeting some morning, reviewing the documents, looking at this field test site, want to put as many RSUs at every intersection as possible and use the entire track to people who are coming. And we really had the best application testing there on that short conducive track, and does give a lot of things that we need to address and validate in that very efficient track. So our next meeting there is next Thursday morning. It's Thursday mornings in US, so that would be which is 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in US. That should equivalent to about 9 or 10 o'clock in Asia. We do want all the device manufacturers and test tool and test laboratories there. A couple key things there. We did release or distribute the new J2735 message set dictionary, the 2024. There was a preliminary release done about a month ago. A lot of our members gave great feedback to the folks in the standards who was updating that. They basically took everybody's feedback, made a updated version, and that was distributed about 2 days ago. The last stable version of that we've had is 2020. We do want people who come to PlugFest to be ready to use 2020, but also if you've had the opportunity to update to 2024, be able to do that also. There's, for the basic operations, SPAD and BSMs, you should be compatible in both. There's a couple of new message features in there that people are just starting to implement that they should consider the 2024. People have asked me a lot about, can we use 2022 or 2023? 2022 we found as a corrupted version, and actually one of our members seen it in our Florida PlugFest, and we actually had to switch back to the 2020. The 2023, another member found that if we use it, we wouldn't be interoperable with people that are using the previous versions, and it was meant not to be backward compatible. So the standards group rushed this 2024 version to us. Also, in the radio config, there's 2 radio configs out there. The one we've used in some of the previous PlugFests that followed the 2022 standard that a lot of us did not have SSL allocated. We want people to be ready for that. And also the one that we tried in Taipei that had DSS SLSS bits allocated. And if you're operating on the different versions, you actually cannot receive all the devices that transmit there. So when you're coming to PlugFest, please be ready for both radio configs, and we can move forward in that. Connected intersections. There's actually 2 documents out right now that's been for review, and I'm looking at them now. One of them is a 785, which is a 1218 command callouts. We've updated and expanded that. People should be aware of that. And that 1218 standard actually will be turning into an ISO standard for global implementation. And there is a which they call 1218/01A that's actually bringing more capability, and there'll be a project that this group will be tackling later this year. We have been working to move our test cases from the RSU 4.1 spec that was adapted for C to VX and converted and be compliant to the CTI 4001, what the US is using, and it's been out for about 2 years, that standard. You'll be seeing that going through a working group ballot here probably in a couple weeks, and we strongly want to use the M-City PlugFest to validate a lot of the new stuff in there so we can actually turn it into the certification process later this year. The VDEX application testing, most of their time has been spent getting prepared for this next M-City PlugFest, and they're tolling and emergence payments group. It's actually occupied a lot of my time here in the last 2 to 3 months. The SYS tool is basically a conformance tool that we had been using for the ISO 6C for quite a while now, and it's been expanded to the 6B80K and the TDM protocols, which are the other 2 protocols that's actually used in the US. And we're adding so-called the conformance to bring on the full-scale multi-protocol certification. Our 725 tag parameter performance document, a lot of the agencies are asking us to make sure the tags are being programmed properly and can be done. The working group is working on that one, and hopefully we can get that released here later this year. There's a standards group called the 6C Coalition that has updated their standard to version 4.0. Our working group has looked through all of those changes. That basically is a few minor changes to what we do now, and fairly easy for us to comply. And so we'll need to do the administrative items to that and get that into our process. Next slide. Road user charging. It's been a very active group in the US here. A lot of people are looking at, we have our normal over-the-road tolling group, but how can you make use of road charging for other areas? And we've had a couple of presentations from Go Karma in March, and there's other presentations being scheduled for April and May. And we hope to advance that here the next 1 to 2 years and get a certification program on board for that. Aftermarket safety devices, we've talked about that a little bit earlier. The key items here is what are the classifications for these different devices. Most of these are targeting OBUs, but there are different categories and RSUs. And when you think about it, an RSU at a non-intersection really is like an aftermarket safety device. So the key things there is what testing or test cases need to be applied. Some of the criteria parameters may be different depending on how they're implemented and that stuff. So we want to create a couple clear divisions of these devices and test. Some of the testing may be a little lighter and some may be a little heavier. In some places you put devices that even though the RF protocol may not be as taxing, but there's other considerations you really have to consider. One of the key areas there is the BSM and the OBUs has a vehicle and length. If an aftermarket product gets put onto, such as a bicycle, what is the length and width, and make sure it was properly installed, and hopefully the receiving device can take the things that's been transmitted in quality. So there's a lot of things that's really happening. We love to get your participation and get involved. We need everybody's help here. Thank you, and I'll turn it back to Jason.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that update. As you guys can see, we have a lot of work underway. We have a lot of achievements already this year. We're about to launch world's first multi-protocol tolling certification program. We have a new certification program underway for aftermarket safety devices and application testing certification for safety applications. So there is a lot to get involved in. If you are not already part of an OmniAir working group, please reach out. Please click on that QR code or reach out to Berkenda or myself or Randy, and we will get you involved. Thank you so much for your time. Our next monthly membership meeting will take place on April 25th, which is the 4th Thursday in the month for members in North America, and for members in Asia and Australia, that is the 4th Friday of the month. And there is a sign up on that QR code there. And with that, thank you. For those celebrating, wishing a very happy Easter. And for those off this week, enjoy the spring break. Thank you again, and have a wonderful week.